Good morning. This is Pablo Martin, current Senate President in my third year, sixth semester in the role. Just wanted to create a little video for you to give you an overview of what this job looks like currently, some tips and suggestions that I have, and kind of walk you through some of the ways that I do things in the hope that you can get a better idea what this job entails, what's involved, the benefits, the downsides, etc. I recommend that you watch this video on a higher speed. I know I talk pretty fast sometimes, so you may not want to do that, but YouTube allows you to speed things up so you can go through it pretty quickly. Hopefully the transcript is also helpful to you. So just going to walk you through some basic things, share some things with you as well. So let's jump right in. So this role comes with a 0.8 reassignment. It used to be a 1.0 just at Miramar. All the other colleges except continuing ed, which has even less, have a 0.8 reassignment. That comes out to 32 hours a week devoted to Senate work. Now, how this allotment is allocated can be revisited and changed with the approval of the academic Senate body. We have 2.0 reassignment load to distribute as we see fit. So regardless of each college's reassignment, the role of Senate President comes with a 20% stipend. That means for every 10 months a faculty member receives a paycheck, they receive a second paycheck equaling 20% of their monthly salary. So what's this for? This is to ensure that the academic Senate presidents are paid to be available during the summer months. We are not expected to work throughout the summer months. I would not do that. I need my break too, right? Teaching and doing this is hard work, but it's so we're available. I also see it as a stipend for our service as quasi-administrators. I think of us as the best deal that the district's getting in terms of administrative service. Because a lot of what we do is arguably administrative in nature, although we're still faculty and we are the faculty voice. So what does it mean to be available over summer? We're expected to be able to provide input and approval on critical matters. Folks will reach out to us. How do I know that they reach out to me? I check my email semi-regularly. I aim for at least once a week. And I try to keep it light. I think one of the important things about being Senate President is compartmentalizing and having boundaries. So I don't check my email sitting on the couch at 7:30 at night. I think that's unhealthy for me. So I don't do that. But I'll say, okay, it's Tuesday morning. I'm going to have my cup of coffee and look at my emails. I specify time and then I compartmentalize it and I leave it behind. I address the things I need to address and then I move on. Most things I don't need to address. I just check my emails just so I'm up to date. But it lets me know if there's something I need to approve, such as a form that's got to go to the chancellor's office or something else that's maybe the president or the vice president of instructions reaching out to me about. I also have to attend important meetings. And this is usually once, or I basically attend 1 to 3 meetings over the course of the summer, not every month, over the entire summer. I attended one a couple of years ago from my hotel in Hawaii, right? So I jump on, make it work. That's really one of the big benefits of being Senate President in this day and age is we have Zoom. So it makes things a lot easier. I don't have to drive all over the place to attend meetings. I can do many of them from my office at home or my office at Miramar. So let me take a look, let you take a look at my calendar real quick. And you can see I've got a lot going on, right? I've just cleared out my other calendars. So we're just looking at my work calendar. And you can see I've got different meetings with different people, the VPI, the SCO. I've got meetings with different folks about different things that are related to my role as Senate President. I've also got meetings that I have to attend, workshops that I'd like to go to. I want to attend Gaia today. I want to pop into the drum circle tomorrow, mindfulness meal and music, before I go to College Council. Right, and then you can see I've got the technology committee down here. And some of these meetings, such as these two, are related to my role as faculty technology liaison. But this gives you a pretty good idea of what my week looks like. There might be more, there might be less. And in these open blocks, that's basically when I do my other work and catch up on emails and other things like that. Okay, so here's a look at a folder that I've created that contains all the documents and materials related to my role as Senate President. You can see I've got a lot of shortcuts or aliases to different folders just so I don't have to have duplicates on my system. But I highly recommend a very clear and easy to use system for yourself. This works for me. Same with calendaring for my calendar. I don't use the Microsoft Outlook calendar. I use that as sort of a backup in case I'm wondering about a committee meeting or something else. But I put everything on my work calendar and my own personal calendar, which I keep on my phone. And then I keep track of all my files on my own personal laptop in a folder called Academic Senate President. The incoming Academic Senate President will have a dedicated laptop or tablet for the role. So we'll make sure to make that has all of these folders and files on it. Ideally, you'll need everything, and you'll just save all those and add to them and hand them off to the next Senate President. We'll make sure we give you a clean version of that device. So as you can see here, I've got things organized, my committees for Academic Senate Exec, right? So Academic Senate Election Committee or Academic Senate Executive Committee. I've got a document for future Academic Senate meetings or executive meetings, right? And I open that up and I add information to this as I'm going along. And then I'll take that information and then I'll take it and I'll add it to the agenda that I create for my meetings. So I've created a folder here, Academic Senate meetings. You can see down here, we got an upcoming meeting on the 18th. I preloaded all of these, and I think I'll do this for the laptop that the future Senate President takes to have just a basic template. So we can look ahead. This is a blank meeting. I haven't done anything for the April 8th meeting, but I've got documents to upload, post-meeting documents like minutes and reports to add from folks such as Darren, our curriculum chair, or other folks. Post-meeting docs is where meetings go, meeting minutes go, and documents to upload. And I've already uploaded files here. And this is, I'll get to this in a minute. This saves me a lot of time later when I'm developing the agenda. I upload a under construction document so that the website has a document that I can link to. Just streamlines things and makes it a lot easier. So you can kind of see how I do things. I have a friend who looks at my computer and says, "Oh my God, you have so many files. I don't know how you do it. That would not work for me." So it may not work for you. It works for me. So what's the day-to-day? The bulk of my time as Senate President is spent reading and sending emails, attending meetings, preparing for meetings and work groups, and meeting with faculty and administration in one-on-one meetings. In fact, I've got one coming up in 30 minutes with the Vice President of Instruction. As I said, I think it's important to have good systems to maintain documents and to make sure you show up to the right place at the right time, right? So you've got what you need, you know where to find it. So I go up from one meeting to the next sometimes on Zoom, or I'll close up Zoom and hustle to another meeting on campus. It's nice that I can just open my laptop and I just know where to find the materials that I need for that next coming meeting. So Senate President attends a lot of meetings, luckily not as many as we used to have to attend. The number and nature of meetings has improved greatly in the past several years. So, and a lot of them can be attended via Zoom, and some of them are hybrid. There's now only one Board of Trustee meeting per month. There used to be two. These take place on Thursday afternoons. You need to be there. You can be remote if you need to be. They take place from 4 to 6. They sometimes go later. Sometimes there's food. There's always snacks. And sometimes, usually, the Senate presidents get together for an informal meeting before that Board of Trustees meeting. My role at these meetings and all meetings really is to represent faculty concerns and report back to faculty to share information and get their input to share back. Right? The whole goal is that I speak for everybody, all the faculty at Miramar, and we have a unified voice. I've mentioned that we have sort of an informal support network among the 4 academic senate presidents in the district. We usually check in with one another when we have questions. We share each other's phone numbers, right? So we have a text chain with the 4 of us and say, "Hey, what's going on with this?" Or "This came up." And it's been great. We're a great resource for each other. We don't always agree, but we always agree to share information and share points of view. And it's been really, really helpful in my years as Senate President. And it's nice too when you see each other at events and conferences. It's nice to have somebody to sort of chat with and just help you out when you're confused. And it can happen because we get a lot of things thrown at us sometimes. So there's a few meetings that are required. That's the Board of Trustees, District Governance Council, and College Council. Those, except for College Council, those are all once a month. College Council meets every 2 weeks. Senate President's on a rotating co-chair cycle. Currently, I'm the co-chair, so the next Senate President won't need a co-chair for 3 years. Other committees are recommended, such as going to the Chairs Committee or Enrollment Management. And then there are others that we're invited to merely as guests, such as Uber chairs at the start of each semester. I find it really helpful to go to those because if we're representing faculty and chairs are too, and chairs are getting all this information from the AFT, it's a wonderful place to go to get a whole lot of information in really easy space. So I take good notes and they give great handouts and materials too. Um, we also have to attend conferences. We have to attend two a year. Those are the plenary conferences in the spring and the fall, and that's run by the statewide Senate. These are 3-day events, and you can attend remotely if you wish. And if you're attending remotely or not, you don't have to attend all 3 days. The first 2 days are oftentimes you can call in for the area meeting to review the resolutions. There might be something else you might need to call in, but Saturday is the big day where you have to vote on resolutions. Saturday, I wish it was on a Friday, but it starts early and usually ends around 12 or 1. So you can get home by the evening if you've got to drive or get to the airport so you can fly home. Sometimes you're there till like 4 or 5. I don't think that's happened to me yet, but I've been there till 3 one time. We also might be invited to attend 1 or 2 other conferences per semester as the Senate president and as sort of a faculty leader. These might focus on equity, enrollment, and other initiatives. I've attended one just this semester for the Equity Student Plan Workshop. That was a 2-day event in Long Beach. And no expenses come out of my pocket, right? It's either paid for by the Academic Senate travel funds or the district's money in other areas. It's not AFT professional development funds. Also, I attended a 1-day event at Arizona State University. That was really awesome. They're showing us their virtual reality academy. Really interesting. So that was fun to attend, and that was optional. And now I've offered my services in a future work group to discuss what that might look like here at the district. And then in April, I'll be attending plenary. So I would say on average, I attend as Senate President 2 conferences a semester where I'm away for at least 1 night. And usually only one's really required. So if I would say what are the highs and the lows of being a Senate president, I'd say one of the highs is being involved and knowing what's happening at the district and college level. So you can share with your colleagues what's going on and also be aware of what's happening. So you can say, hey, that's a concern, or this is really great. So you can get behind things or call out concerns if you have them. I also love being heard, right? As Senate president, your voice matters. The Senate president can have real impact both locally and at the district. We also get to work with leaders across the campus to help guide the culture and direction of the college. That's important to me because I really love Miramar and I love our students and I love that space and I want to see it thrive and grow. I want us to be good stewards of the public trust and public funds. So I help to be a leader in that. So that's nice. I also really enjoy working closely with faculty to really say, hey, we can address and resolve some concerns. Sometimes it's just a 15-minute conversation. Other times it might be developing a resolution over several meetings. I also like working across constituency groups for the good of the college. I've really enjoyed building relationships with classified professionals as well as administrators. It's been a lot of fun. I just feel like my community at Miramar is huge now. I know and work well with a lot of people, and I would say I've got a lot more friends now too. Also, my schedule is flexible. There are some days when I can work from home, others when I attend meetings at the district or one of the other colleges. Rarely, I'll drive to 2 or 3 locations in a day, but that's pretty rare. So that's nice. With the advent of Zoom, there's a lot of meetings that I can attend remotely, and it saves me time driving, and I can focus on doing my work. We'll share a couple lows with you. Sometimes it does feel like being Senate president that I'm fighting an uphill battle or that I'm not getting anywhere in my efforts to resolve a problem. I think that's probably mostly personal to me. I like to get things done, and sometimes things take time. Sometimes it feels like things aren't going anywhere, and that could be frustrating. But we keep showing up, and one of the benefits of the role is that I can keep being at these meetings, keep asking questions until progress is hopefully made. Compartmentalizing, right? When I first started as Senate president, I was checking my email till really late and then getting like upset by something like, oh, I can't believe that's happening. And then that would occur in my personal space. Then I'd go hang out with my family and it wasn't great. So definitely you want to learn to compartmentalize. So you keep your work and your personal life. And that's been really helpful. So after a certain time, I don't check email. Occasionally I will pop in outside of my boundary times when I need to, but I try to make sure, hey, this is my time because it's a pretty consuming job. So I think it's really important to have those boundaries. Another challenge can be managing conflicting faculty needs or concerns. or representing faculty needs that maybe are different from yours or concerns that are different from yours. But that's been a growing opportunity for me, really, because then I get to listen, say, okay, well, what does the body think? What does this greater group think about this? And how can we move forward with and find consensus? So I think restorative practices have been helpful for me there. But when you've got two different groups or points of view among faculty, that can be tough. But just another thing we learn to navigate. I think another concern or challenge of being Senate president is having to take the lead, or at least I feel like I have to take the lead, addressing issues when no one else steps up. I'm currently leading 3 work groups, which is great. They're all work groups that I believe in, but there weren't enough folks to step in and take the lead there. So that's my role. So it can be a lot. I like to show up and just be a member at a meeting too, and be helping out. So as Senate president, sometimes it feels like I'm required to lead more than I maybe would like to. The good news is the work needs to get done, and the work is important, and so that's helpful. So I always try to find that silver lining in the challenging parts, just so I don't get so worn down, because it can be a heavy job. And I think one of the things I really miss about being Senate president is not being able to spend as much time with students and faculty talking about disciplinary content as I'd like to. I really miss the student energy, but I get that through being a club advisor. And as Senate president, 20% of my load needs to be filled up with something. And in past semesters, that's been teaching a class. All right, I could walk through a bunch of other stuff, how I do AS meetings and my approach to them, creating the slideshow, but I've got a document that kind of walks you through all of this, and I think it's more helpful just to read that, and I'll make sure that's shared along with the link to this video. But I just want to let you know, if you're considering running for Senate president, it's a great job. It's an important job. We need folks to step up, right, and help share the load of leading the college. It's in the state law, right, that we get to help run the college, right, with classified professionals, students, and administrators. We run the college, and if we don't show up to run the college, who knows what's going to happen or how it's going to be run. So I think it's important that we do that, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I hope you'll consider it. Whether you want my guidance in the future or not, I'm here to help you as much or as little as you want to. I think it's important to know you've got resources in addition to a past Senate president. That's me. You've also got a wonderful group of officers that are elected every 2 years. You've got your vice president, currently that's Carmen Carrasquillo. You've got a secretary, you've got a treasurer, you've got a member at large from contract and a member at large from the part-time faculty pool, as well as the chair of chairs and the chair of the curriculum committee. Most of those folks are really knowledgeable. They're go-getters, and they'll help make things happen. So really, whenever I have a challenging question, like, what do we do about this? I pretty much always bring it to the exec and we talk it through, and it's been very helpful. Last thing I'll say, Senate meetings, we've got 2 meetings a month. We also have 1 meeting a month for the executive committee to meet and discuss what are we going to talk about on our next meeting, or any other issues that are coming up, things that don't require Senate body input. And then 1 other meeting a month, and these are all Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5. And this meeting moves around. That's the Committee on Committees, that's in the fall, and in the spring, the Committee on Committees shifts when possible to review the Constitution and bylaws. But that meeting generally doesn't need to happen every week. So the vice president of the Senate might move that around a little bit. So that's about it. And please reach out if you have questions, concerns. I'm happy to walk and talk with you, do a Zoom call, whatever you want to do. Just looking forward to getting a new Senate president to help continue leading us forward. Thanks so much for your time, and look forward to seeing you in your role. Peace out.